Phoenix get rolled. Watch the entire game. 2.5 hours of getting rolled. No pushback. Not competitive. And I was thinking of this. You know, people love to point out when opinionists like myself and others, many others, are wrong. But what happens when you are? Years ago, there was this argument that KD was better than LeBron, and I laughed at it over and over. LeBron's game, there's more depth. He's a leader. He's stronger. He's more reliable. And he makes really good decisions. What if Kevin Durant gets rolled here in round one by Minnesota? Not exactly a historical juggernaut. It will point out what the almost apologetic NBA media always fails to do.
This is nonsense because Minnesota is trying to turn into their own juggernaut, unlike the Denver Nuggets. Okay, the Denver Nuggets weren't historically a juggernaut, and yet they beat and steamrolled the Lakers last season and have continued to beat the Lakers 9 games in a row. And not to mention, LeBron James has Anthony Davis with him, you know, another Hall of Famer. KD, first off, put up 31 points on, 12 of 17 shooting, and, 2 threes, 7 rebounds. Like, what else do you want KD to do? If anything, this just proves that you need other players, that it can't just be one player, one person, one individual to be able to do everything. If you want to say that he's made poor decisions in terms of team selection, okay, I can maybe give you that. I can grant you that. You know, sticking with the Golden State Warriors was probably the best bet. But this is absurd. This is insane. He's also torn his Achilles. So to compare him to LeBron James is in service of trying to pull KD down that's just absurd. I mean, that really, really is. And again, he's like acting like Minnesota's a bunch of scrubs now when they have 3 bona fide stars, 3 giants in the NBA right now, you know, reigning defensive players of the year, and everyone is literally talking about how he's going to be the next face of the league, and yet now we're acting like Minnesota's just a bunch of scrubs. Like, I don't understand. If anything, people are saying that the Minnesota Timberwolves have the best chance at dethroning the Nuggets. So I reject whatever the heck nonsense he's trying to spit out.
KD makes bad decisions. Can you imagine Patrick Mahomes saying, I'm done with Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. I want to go play for the Jets because I like this slot receiver.
Okay, I don't mean to keep pausing it, but again, what a BS nonsense comparison. If Patrick Mahomes was drafted by the Carolina Panthers and wasn't winning and was playing with difficult players and then said, I enforced him away and said, okay, you know what? I'm going to sign with Andy Reid, who had already won. And now he won a Super Bowl, and now every single person, media like you included, said, Patrick Mahomes, you just went to an already complete team. They won without you. They don't really actually need you. Do you really think Patrick Mahomes would stick around? Or do you think Patrick Mahomes would say, all right, fine, I'm going to go to a different team and win on my own? Oh, Patrick Mahomes would do that. So get out of here with this nonsense.
That's essentially what KD did, leaving a dynasty. At one point, the argument that KD was better than LeBron was a furious debate. I rolled my eyes at it. KD is a great shot maker, an all-timer, love his game. But his skill set should put him in the top 1 or 2 in the last decade. And frankly, he's getting lost. Jokic looks much better historically. Steph is really the soul of the Warriors, winning titles before him, during, and after. Anthony Davis now is a more consistent player on both ends. Giannis has more regular season MVPs. As I'm watching Phoenix get rolled, Kevin Durant's becoming increasingly irrelevant.
This is such nonsense. This is such nonsense. He's becoming irrelevant because he's a smaller market and playing for the Phoenix Suns. Okay? He actually made the playoffs, and yet more people were talking about the Golden State Warriors because they're the Golden State Warriors. I mean, I just don't understand it. It's so amazing how the short-term nonsense memory loss that everyone has. Like, KD didn't carry the Brooklyn Nets on his back and almost beat Giannis with no one who went on to win the championship, all because his big toe was an inch on the line, on the three-point line. KD is a workhorse and came back from a torn Achilles and is still elite. Klay Thompson, he tore his Achilles. Did he come back and was he elite ever again? Unfortunately, no. How about Kobe Bryant? Unfortunately, no. So, what, we're not going to give grace to KD from overcoming the injury? From trying his hardest? I mean, yes, he made a bad decision to team up with Kyrie Irving and James Harden. I grant that. Both those players gave up. Kyrie was just like, I'm not going to play. And James Harden's like, nah, I'm going to eat cheeseburgers and go to adult clubs. So, it's just like, it's unbelievable how you want to do that. And then you want to praise people like LeBron James for continuing to not really be that competitive, even though he has Anthony Davis, who Colin says is an amazing, great player, potentially an all-timer, relatively speaking, right? He's not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar here, or Michael Jordan, but still a great player. And KD has Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, who's consistently a no-show, who got like beat by, what was it, like 40 points or something insane in a closeout game against the Mavs? Like, what are we talking about? And the Warriors lost to LeBron James. And I'm a huge Warriors fan. Lost to LeBron James and the Cavaliers without KD. And then once they had KD, it was a wrap. And then when KD got injured, they couldn't beat the Toronto Raptors. Better believe if KD was playing, they would have won. They would have three-peated. So now you're going to take away that credit, and now you're shocked that KD left the Golden State Warriors when you yourself is saying KD wasn't really that important. Steph was the soul of that team. Yeah, his one mistake is listening to voices and comments like that. And I love Colin Cowherd. So if this is your first time checking out a video, you're probably thinking, this guy hates Colin. No, I love Colin. I love this show. That's why I make these videos. But I vehemently disagree with this point. I mean, it just, I can't even make sense of it. He balled out in that game, doing everything he could. And you can see, he put up just about the same amount of points as two of the other key players combined. And yet you want to blame KD for that. As he's already old, and we already know that LeBron is a freak, and that's why he's able to, also age well. And also had the good fortune of not being injured. KD has been injured multiple times, multiple surgeries, missing lots of games. And we're going to hold that against him? Because he had the heart to try to go back out there and play with the Warriors, sacrificing his body, his career, and he tore his Achilles? The man should get nothing but praise. Nothing but praise and respect. And you wonder why he makes the decisions that he makes.
Wasn't long ago that the apologetic NBA media gave him a pass for leaving the NBA penthouse from ownership down for a fixer-upper in Brooklyn and then a remodel in Phoenix. And it's not working here either. I like him. I like his game. I've said if there was a one-on-one tournament, he'd probably beat Jordan. He's a great scorer. But NBA players have power and they have leverage. That doesn't mean they make good decisions. What if he gets rolled by Minnesota after that debacle in Brooklyn? Anybody in the NBA media going to call him out? You'd call out Mahomes because the NFL media isn't here to protect its stars. It's here to cover them. Report, not support. But you know what KD's starting to feel like? You're going to call me nuts. Like a more available Kawhi. Enigmatic, mysterious, not sure why he does what he does, super talented, can get you a basket and a stop. But what is he? Is he's just somebody that's talented with a skill set that should make him a top 2 player in the league. But with all these young, great players coming, most from Europe, Jokic now established as the best player. What's the gap between Jokic and Durant? It's not close. It's the Grand Canyon. And LeBron's already established him as a Grand Canyon separation from KD. Steph Curry now has separated. Giannis has more regular season MVPs. It's not to say I don't like KD's game, but couldn't I argue he's kind of closer to Kawhi now than the best players of the league? Is that a hot take?
It's a dumb take, because Kawhi is apathetic and KD lives and dies and breathes for basketball, as I already mapped out, sacrificing his body and his career for the Golden State Warriors. And you want to say that it's a Grand Canyon away between him and LeBron and him and Jokic, as KD is in the twilight of his career as an already injury-prone player having multiple injuries. This is the most unnuanced take and manufactured nonsense that I've heard in a long time, especially with regards to basketball. It's just it's unbelievable that we are going to we're going to drag KD's name through the dirt for what he's been able to accomplish and do. He's like, Giannis has more MVPs than him. Well, KD's got 2 finals MVPs, okay? Which isn't a popularity contest like the MVPs for the regular season. Which, not to mention, Colin himself says that those season awards are jokes and that he doesn't care about them. But now he's using them as an argument for him. You can't say that they're nonsense and then use them as an argument on your behalf. That doesn't make sense. They either matter or they don't. Which is it? If you don't think they matter, then you don't use it to support your argument. Because that means your argument is weak then. You're using something that you don't even believe that matters to support your argument. That means you have a fragile point and a fragile argument. So, I'm just not seeing where any of this adds up. I'm not making the argument that KD is better than LeBron James, or at this point in his career that he's better than Jokic. But KD is on a significantly inferior team. He balled out. He did his end of the bargain. It's the other players that aren't. Booker and Beal combining for 33 points is a joke. What do you want KD to do? Why aren't you giving this the same type of speech against LeBron James for getting dominated by the Nuggets, for not even shooting a basket in the fourth quarter? I mean, like, what are we talking about here? I just don't get it. If you want to talk about him making bad decisions, that's fine. But you want to talk about him not being a good enough player, or that he should be a top 2 player, but because of whatever, he's not. That's just not fair. And yes, we're putting out other players that are up and coming right now. Yeah, KD was in his early 20s too once upon a time. And he was dominant. And he lost a big chunk of his career playing with a non-team player in Russell Westbrook, who Colin doesn't like. Colin says is not a good player. Says that he couldn't even work with LeBron James, and LeBron James works with everyone. Everyone works with LeBron James. And so again, you're going to put that on KD? Come on. That just doesn't make sense. I understand why KD left Golden State. Because the noise was loud. Loud. His own GM said, Steph can get what he wants, not KD. KD's sensitive. He didn't like hearing that. And KD had a great chance at winning in Brooklyn. They were a great team. And then they fell apart, injuries, other stuff. The thing that happened that I don't want to ever mention on this channel because I never want it to be flagged as political. Kyrie is a weirdo. James Harden loves to eat, be out of shape, and be a bum. And all famously never shows up in the playoffs. And KD on his back with no one. Just him and 2 popsicle sticks. Almost beats Giannis and the Bucks. And we're going to hold KD's feet to the fire? That's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. Do you think KD is becoming irrelevant? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.